And I crossed the finish line to my last Ironman because I had the best race of my life. I did a personal record and I placed seventh in my age group. So I knew I wasn't going to Kona that next year. And so here I was out in Costa Rica and because I was like, I need a time, I need some space. Like I just am leaving something that I've tried for 30 years. Long story short, I'm out on the beach running and I just break down and cry because I'm like, oh my God, Ironman doesn't define me of who I am as a woman, but it really showed who I was as a woman, as an athlete who never thought she was an athlete growing up. So I love what Ironman has done for me as a person.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, Fearless Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. G, and we are back for another exciting episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. This week, we have none other than Jen Rulon, and she is going to tell us all about herself and all of the incredible things that she is up to. Take it away, Jen.
Well, thank you, Dr. G. I currently I live in Costa Rica, but I am up in cold Michigan right now.
Oh, yeah.
So visiting family. But it's been a beautiful time. But I am a 15-time Ironman triathlete. I am a author, speaker. That's like the spiel I always give everybody, right? This is like I feel like a very robotic type of person when I say all that, but that's not truly who Jen Rulon is. Jen Rulon is a woman with so much joy and gratitude in my life. I have such amazing family and friends with my support, with so much support, and I love fitness. I do. I love fitness, whether it's strength training, surfing, swimming, biking, running. Used to do all that stuff, but I think now, I mean, I don't like defining myself as an Ironman triathlete. I don't like defining myself as a business owner. I think I define myself as me.
Love it. Love it. But by the way, but just as a side note, I'm just an Ironman triathlete. I'm just a champion. Okay. Just a side note. That's
You're
like
sweet.
major kudos for that, because I know that that's a difficult thing to do and to be good at.
Yeah.
And it's particularly Ironman because you're talking about like everything on steroids, right? I mean, we're talking about 26.2 miles, right? 100 and what?
You
How,
got
how
it.
many miles? 100
100
plus
and
miles?
112 bike, and
112
then
on a
a
bike, and then how many miles
and the
swim?
yeah 2.4 mile swim.
2.4 miles. I mean, that is nothing to sneeze at.
I know.
Do
I
you know what I
know.
mean? Like, I
I
think
know.
people would be like, most people would be stopped at. They're like, oh, I'm gonna try to do like a mini try. I'm just gonna try that
Right.
because there are potentially areas in there where I could potentially die, like to
Right.
swim.
Right. Especially if you're swimming in the ocean. I mean, there's
Right,
lots of
open
waves and
water. Yes,
sharks, open
yes.
water. Exactly.
So this is
Yeah.
not
Well, thank
without
you.
peril, right?
I
And so
know.
huge accomplishment, huge accomplishment. So
Thank
I don't
you.
know. I feel like we need to big that up a little.
And we can dive into it. Sometimes it's just, I think it's like, I remember going into retirement and I remember talking to God out on that race course at Ironman number 15. And I said, you know what, God, I have two questions for you. I need two answers. I need an answer from you. Either one, I qualify again for Kona and I place first two in my age group, or number two, I cross the finish line to the race. I have the best race of my life. It doesn't matter what age group or what place I'm in, and I'm done. And I crossed the finish line to my last Ironman because I had the best race of my life. I did a personal record and I placed seventh in my age group. So I knew I wasn't going to Kona that next year. And so here I was out in Costa Rica and because I was like, I need a time, I need some space. Like I just am leaving something that I've tried for 30 years. Long story short, I'm out on the beach running and I just break down and cry because I'm like, oh my God, Ironman doesn't define me of who I am as a woman, but it really showed who I was as a woman, as an athlete who never thought she was an athlete growing up. So I love what Ironman has done for me as a person. So
No, that's incredible. And so you dropped a number there. You said 30 years. So you got to tell me, like, how did that even get started? Like, how did you even get involved in this? Because you said
yeah,
you didn't picture yourself as an athlete.
I didn't. I didn't. I was 17 years old and I was watching the ABC Wide World of
Oh my
Sports
gosh, I used
and
to watch
some
that too.
you're right. Remember the tagline, the thrill of victory and
Victory
the
had the agony of defeat.
agony of defeat. It's like boom, tumbling down
Oh,
the
that
road,
was like
right?
the
Tumbling down
best.
the hill, right? And so it was the 1989 Ironman World Championship, and it was Mark Allen and Dave Scott showdown, and they called it the Iron War. And these guys were going neck and neck the whole race. And Mark won that day, and he crossed the finish line at like 8 hours and something. It was insane, 8 hours and 6 seconds. And then an hour
That's
later, the first female crosses, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I was 17 years old at this time, and I thought, well, if she could do it, I can do it. And then um, I I went and told my grandpa, who was like my pinnacle of all human beings, like the grandpa, right? And
yeah.
my mom, I said, I'm going to do Ironman Hawaii when I turn 30. And they're like, okay. And my mom didn't even say, well, Jen, you don't run, you're a cheerleader, you play softball, right? I was never on track. I never swam in the swim team or the club. And so my mom was, but they were just like, okay. And my grandpa did tell me, well, when you go to Hawaii, I'll go with you.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
I heard those words and I knew that's what I needed to do.
So it wasn't that you weren't an athlete. I mean, come on, cheerleading is a sport, and so
It's
is
just,
softball.
yeah, and it's so funny because I think, I actually did a TED talk about this or a TEDx talk about this because I think growing up in the Midwest with an older brother who played basketball, baseball, football, quarterback of the football team, he had that bond with my dad, right?
Okay,
And and I didn't see myself as an athlete because I didn't play those sports. At least
I
that's what
see.
was in my head. That was
Gotcha.
playing around in my head, right? But I think, I think my doing my Ironman, like the first Ironman, was really a twofold because of okay, I want to get close. I want Grandpa and I to go to Hawaii, but then it's also was a little bit of trying to get my dad's attention. Be like, hey, I'm over here doing swim, bike, and run and stuff like that. And
I
but the
mean,
cool thing, yeah, right,
wow.
yeah. But I think when I crossed that finish line to my first Ironman, I was like, I don't need my dad's validation. I just validated myself.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's growth right there. And then so tell me, you had to have some fears, right? Because like you said, this is like completely unknown territory, completely unknown territory.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I mean, you do have that, at 17, you're kind of like fearless, kind of like you feel like I do it all, I'm invincible. But still, there must have been some cause for pause. Like you had to have something that you're like, well, I wonder, you know, did you even think about the
Um,
fact that if you're not a swimmer, like, man, I'm gonna go out there and swim, this could be perilous.
Yeah, no, I was a swimmer. That's the thing. I mean, I was very comfortable around the water. I was a lifeguard. I
Okay.
taught swimming
Okay.
lessons and stuff like
Okay.
that. So, and when I said I did that when I was 17, when I said I wanted to do that when I was 17, I didn't actually do it until I was 30.
I
So
see. Okay. Gotcha.
it took me a while to get to my first Ironman because I told grandpa and my mom that I was going to do
Right.
that by the time I'm 30. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shoot, 30's coming up. I better get going, right? I think the biggest fear for me was not being able to finish.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I could swim, no problem. I knew I could run a marathon because I did a marathon before an Ironman, which I don't recommend.
Wait,
I
wait.
know
Like
that sounds
immediately before?
no, 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 no. Like probably about I mean, I did a marathon in 98 and I didn't do an Ironman. I didn't do Ironman until 2002.
I
So
see. I see.
yeah, yeah. But it
But you,
just,
but the proof of concept was there. Like you knew you could do it.
yes, I knew I could do
Okay.
it. It was, and I did a couple 100-mile rides. I never did 112. But then all of a sudden, like to put it all together, I think that was like, that's the crazy thing, you know? And then figuring out the nutrition piece, like that's a whole other beast in itself.
You
Yeah.
need a lot of calories because you're burning a lot of calories.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And if you take in too many calories, you will get rid of it somehow, some way. The
Right.
body
Right.
will release it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. And so like so what did you end up like doing? Like what was your career? Did you have a career or did you just were you
I
just a
did.
professional athlete or
No, I was an age group athlete. My I had my ideal career. I don't really talk a lot about it, but I used to work at SeaWorld. I was an
okay.
animal trainer. I was an animal trainer. I was in the marine mammal field for 14 years.
Oh
I went
wow.
to I went to University of Wisconsin Whitewater, got my undergraduate degree in biology with a psych minor because everything that we do with the animals is psychology based.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So during the time of my first Ironman and my second Ironman, actually my first four Ironmans, I was actually working at SeaWorld and they were fantastic about allowing us to have other passions and stuff like that, which was amazing. Um, but then I realized SeaWorld no longer served me. I did everything I wanted to do working there, and I wanted to go back to school. So
Okay.
at 40 years old, I went back and got my master's in kinesiology with an
Okay.
emphasis of exercise science. And I left SeaWorld and started working at Lululemon.
Oh
And
nice. I like Lululemon.
yeah, right. Oh, geez, it's ridiculous how many clothes I have there,
Oh dear
but
Lord.
uh, right. But yeah, I worked there for a year just to sort of get back, like being able to work and go back to school. Anyways, long story short, after I graduated, I was looking for jobs after jobs after jobs, and I could not find a job. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to start my own company.
Boom. There it
So
is.
I started JenRulon.com, and I help athletes cross the finish line with a smile.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way from sign up to launching your show with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available. If you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show. And so did you have any when you came to that conclusion, when you're like, look, there's nothing out there for me, I'm just gonna make my own thing. Did you have any fear with that?
Oh, yes. I mean, I was actually offered a couple positions, and one position was like, well, you have to wait for 6 months because so and so's not leaving, and so we're just going to keep you on the back burner. And so here I was getting like money, benefits, like 401k, all of this stuff, and it was like afterwards, I actually talked to my ex-husband about this, and I was like, this isn't right. Like I can be doing stuff now for myself and my business and really build a brand. And that's exactly what I did. Yeah.
That's
But it was
awesome.
really,
That's
it
awesome.
was scary. It was very fearful because I didn't have that money flowing. I didn't have the
Right.
benefits. I didn't have the medical or, the 401k. It was me starting and jump starting my own business. Scary as all get out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe it. And
Yeah.
then wow. And then so this is what year is this now that this happened?
Oh, geez. 2012. So yeah,
Okay.
it was. Yep. Actually, I'm on my 10th anniversary of getting the LLC. So yeah.
That's
So this
awesome.
is
That's
yeah,
awesome.
2013 was my LLC. Yep. Yep.
No, that's awesome. 10 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yay.
you. And it's funny because it's like there's times where I'm like, I'm just done with this. I need to go back to a 9 to 5, and then I'm like,
Really? I don't see
yeah,
once you're an
no.
entrepreneur, it's very difficult to go back to a 9 to 5.
I
It's very
know. I
difficult.
know.
If in
Is
fact,
it
I think it's impossible. Honestly. Really? I mean, can you
really?
really see yourself answering to somebody else? Can you really
No.
see that? Right. So that's what I'm
Good
saying. It's
point.
impossible. Once you've been your own
No.
boss, it's just super difficult.
It is. It is. And it's like when I sit there and I look at jobs or other positions like out there and I'm like, okay, benefits look good, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but wouldn't be able to live in Costa Rica, 2 minutes from the beach. When I come back to the States, I spend more money because I can go to Lululemon and go on Amazon. I just don't
Yes.
have that in Costa Rica.
Yeah,
So I
fair.
don't need it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm all about like international living because we don't live in the States either.
Oh,
Well,
you
we don't
don't?
live technically in the mainland. I guess we live in a territory, so I suppose that is
Okay.
still part of it. But we're all the way in Guam, so
Oh
it's
my
like
gosh, you are. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's why I'm like, oh, that's cool. You live in Costa Rica, yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Michigan is so funny. You mentioned Michigan. Guess where we moved from?
No, you're kidding me.
Yeah, we
What
lived in
part?
Michigan we used to live in Southeast Michigan, so we lived in
Okay,
Ypsilanti,
of
Ann Arbor
course.
area. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm in
yeah. So
so my brother is in Troy, but
okay,
right now
Troy.
I'm in I'm off in like 15 minutes south of Sheboygan, like up
Okay,
in
yeah.
the top, like
Oh yeah,
almost by Mackinac.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's cold up there.
it's cold.
Even now, I'm like, we're looking at the weather the other day. We're like, oh snap, it is cold in Michigan right now.
Yes, it is. I walked actually this morning I went to the CrossFit gym at Indian River and all of a
Yes.
sudden I walked out. I'm like, oh my God, it's
Mm-hmm.
39 degrees. Like I had to go back inside and I'm like, my brother's got to have a fleece or
A
something
jacket, something.
like jacket. I couldn't I wanted to wear shorts. I'm like, yeah, shorts aren't gonna happen.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, and if you live in a tropical place, you're also kind of not ready. Like when you live there, you're
No.
like, oh, whatever, this is nothing, right? But then when you're
Right.
away from it and you go back, you're like, whoa, okay, let me
Yes.
just go and
Yes.
get some outerwear here. Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, no, that's so funny. Yeah, okay, awesome. And then so we talked about your business. So you gotta tell people like more about it, like what you do now. I know that
Yeah.
the crux of it is that you help athletes to cross the finish line with a smile, but tell us like what you offer. Is it coaching? Is it like a program? Like what is it?
Yeah, so I've done, I do a lot of one-on-one triathlon coaching. I also will do fitness coaching. I have an app as well, but let's talk about the one-on-one coaching. So the coaching that I do is I get athletes ready for their first Ironman, their 13th Ironman, their a cycling event, a lot of endurance events. I'm very good at what I do when it comes to the triathlon space. I know my shit and excuse me, I know my
No,
stuff
no, that's fine. That's
and
fine.
okay. And I'm good at it. Like even a couple weeks ago, I went to cheer one of my athletes on. Jeff, he did Ironman Wisconsin. He's done 13 Ironmans with me. And I thought, I came up to Michigan to visit family. What a great opportunity to go over to Wisconsin, Madison, go cheer him on, get out on the race course, and everybody's like, oh my God, Jen Rulon, what are you doing here? You live in Costa Rica, I'm like, yeah, I'm here, cheering on my athlete or whatever. And so that is the main thing what I do. And what I do is I get them ready for, and like I said, the races. I have athletes from the United States, from Costa Rica, from Australia, and from Sweden currently. And
Okay.
so a lot of my athletes are very motivated, very, they might be like the busy moms, they might be a doctor, entrepreneur, like just athletes that want to do an Ironman or want to do an endurance event or a marathon or whatever that might be, but just don't have the time. They don't need the bells and whistles of a team and a coach. I mean, we have a good little team, but yeah, I'm really good at what I do because I get a lot of people crossing that finish line. So that's like the main portion of my business. And then I started putting together an app. Um, it's called Jen Rulon 2.0, but it's talking about how I transitioned from a 15-time Ironman triathlete to an everyday healthy human because I was like, I don't want to swim, bike, and run no more. Like
Fair.
I'm tired. I'm tired. Like no mas, no mas. So I started putting together this app, and on the app is over 80 workouts that I've done all around Costa Rica. So get to see beautiful backgrounds, and so that's moving slowly, but it adds a little bit about who I am as a coach as well. So, and then oh my God, I've done speaking events, I've done speaking engagements, I've written some books. So I have a lot of stuff going on, but I sort of like it.
That's great. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, you could always go to jenrulon.com, JenRulon.com. You could go, that's my website. You could go to Instagram, Coach Jen Rulon. And then I started my own podcast, which Dr. G, I should probably have you on, right? On
All
my
right. Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever.
it's called The Everyday Healthy Human. And so that's really about how I metamorphosize into an athlete into just being healthy as I'm aging into my 50s, right?
No, that's
And so
good. I need
I
that, by the
do
way,
so
because I'm going into my
yeah.
50s.
Yes, yes. But and that's the beauty of it all is that I think we're all trying to figure out how can we become the best version of ourselves. And that's where I'm interviewing people on how they make their own transitions, whether it's, from, going from a Ironman to just living healthy, and not having an organized schedule. And I think triathletes and endurance athletes have a very scary time of breaking away from that organization of a workout. And so I'm telling people it's okay to break away. Life is so much prettier when you don't have to swim, bike, and run thousands of miles.
That's so funny. I never thought I'd say that in a sentence. Like it's like,
Right.
oh, but for real, that's truth. Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So now tell me so what's the steps for the future? So you work on the app. That's one of the things. And so are you finding yourself doing more speaking, more work with the one-on-one coaching? Like where's the future direction?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think the future direction is definitely still my one-on-one coaching because that's my bread and butter. That's what I'm good at. That's what people know me. And so I don't think I shouldn't say ever, but I don't think I'm going to step away from that. But what I would love to start really doing is really, I don't know if you want to say life coach, but accountability coaching people who are really trying to find the best version of themselves through, and how I see it for myself, it's through fitness or physical movement, spiritual deepening your spiritual practice, whatever your beliefs are, the mindset. How can people take my mindset of an Ironman athlete and apply that to their everyday life? And then just accountability with each other and with yourself, like really learning how to put boundaries up, or really learning how to say no. You know, like little things like that. Like I would love to really help people beyond the swim, bike, and run and the fitness, because I think there's so much more out there that people can really, really find themselves. And I've done a lot of healing after I stopped doing Ironmans, because I stopped running away from things that maybe I didn't want to address, and started walking across the finish line. But it's not really the finish line, because if the finish line,
Right.
if I would be dead, right?
Right. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Let's not go
anytime
there.
soon.
Yeah, I'm not yet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I would love to speak more. I do have this major dream, though. I
What's
don't know
that?
if I should say it though.
You should
Should
say
I?
it. Put it out in the universe, because that's what it happens.
I want a New York Times bestseller.
Okay. Boom.
Yep. And I've already have I haven't figured out if it's a children's book,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's I've like I said, I've written a book for women, but I feel like we're all metamorphosizing into our better selves. And
Okay.
so I don't know, there's something there. Butterflies play a huge role in my
Mm-hmm.
world, starting with my grandpa.
Sure. Yeah.
So I feel like I have to. So I feel like this New York Times bestseller may be a children's book. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. I will keep an eye out for it. That'd
Thanks.
be great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
now that you've said it, it's going to happen, right? So there you
It's
go.
going to happen, right? I actually picture myself, and I actually have visualized myself in New York for some reason, like walking and seeing like my book. And I'm
That's
like,
perfect.
whoa, that's my book. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
So
beautiful.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really gonna happen now. For real.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
It's
the
so
I'm
it's
the
so
real
it's
life, right? Go ahead.
yeah, no, that's good. Because it's funny because we're working on visualization with our children, and just helping them to like visualize themselves in their sports activities, and
Mhm.
visualizing the success there. And one of the things that we look at is we look at like mental toughness quotes from different athletes. And the one athlete that really has a lot of these kind of quotes is Kobe Bryant, when he was alive.
Yes.
I mean, and so, he talks about how he would visualize himself playing for the Lakers in the championship game. He would visualize
Mhm.
himself making I mean, just constant visualization. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
you have to put the work in to get the skills, in order to make
Right.
that be executed. But the more you visualize something, is the more chances there are that it's actually going to happen, because you're going to start doing things
Yeah.
that are going to make you get to that point. So, and I love that you said that you visualize yourself in New York, and you visualize yourself, walking by the bookstore and seeing your book there, because
Yeah.
I know for sure it's going to happen now, because,
It's
you,
gonna
you put it
happen.
out there, you're visualizing it, it's going to happen.
Thank you. I mean, seventh grade, I said I was going to work with marine mammals. So
Oh, look at that.
look at that. I mean, 17 years old, I said I was going to do the Ironman World Championship. I did it when I was 28 years later,
There you
like
go.
I did it. I did it. So I know this visualization stuff works. It may take a little time, but that's okay. I got
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I'm living.
yeah, yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome.
One
So
of
we
my
are,
favorite,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say one of my
One of your
favorite
favorite.
quotes, yeah, is Billie Jean King, champions keep playing until they get it done right.
Mm, She's another incredible person.
I know.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I
So,
know she
anyways,
must be. I mean, it would. Wait, remind me, is she still alive?
I think she
I'm not
is, right?
positive, but if she is, then she must be super excited about what has happened to her sport
Oh
and
my
all of
God.
the work that she has done. I mean,
Oh my
we're still
God.
not there with the parity of, with like equal
Right.
pay or anything like that with the big prizes,
Right.
but we're starting to like make some changes there. And
Hmm.
so I know because she's the one that like put in, the work and was very
She
vocal.
did. She's very vocal. Yeah. Like I want to say she's still around, but like seeing Coco win, I was like
Yes.
cheered
Oh
for
my
her. I was
gosh.
like, oh my God,
Yes.
that was
And then to see
incredible.
what the pot actually was, that was incredible because I mean, there's been huge disparity between what the Grand
Oh,
Slam
really?
prize money is for the males as well as, between that and what it is for females. So the
Yeah.
fact that, it has increased in the sum is incredible. So yeah,
Yes,
no, strides. And it started with people like her. So
it did. It did.
definitely really cool to see.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you bring up Billie Jean King. That's
I know, right? uh,
pretty awesome. All right. So Jen, are you ready for our tradition on the show? We're here. We have a fill in the blank tradition. Are you ready for that?
I am ready for that. I saw it, but I didn't want to look at it because
Okay, that's
I
fine.
want to,
Spontaneous is
yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah,
All right. That's cool. So the first one is if I am fearless, I will.
achieve anything I want.
Awesome. 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 The next one is to me, fearless freedom means
Living,
awesome. And last but not least, my battle cry is
unstoppable.
sweet, 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 sweet.
All I can think about is this song.
Oh,
Unstoppable.
see ya. Yeah, that's a
See ya.
really good
Yeah.
song. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really
Yeah.
good song.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you're
Thank you,
visiting
Dr.
with
G.
family, so I appreciate you taking time out to be on the
No,
show. You
thank
know
you
what I
for
mean?
adjusting and all that stuff. I appreciate that. I know we had some schedule stuff a couple
Yeah,
weeks
it's all
ago.
good.
So
It's all good. It's
thank
all
you so
good.
much for adjusting. I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, no worries, no worries.
Yeah,
And then just before we leave, before we take off, let's make sure that we have you say how people can contact you one more time.
of course. You could contact me at jenrulon.com, JENRULON.com. You could email me at jen@jenrulon.com, or you could go to the gram and I'm Coach Jen Rulon there. And yeah, or head to my podcast, the Everyday Healthy Human podcast.
Awesome. 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 Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. G. Ciao.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.